Coming at you live from beautiful DNHQ in South Pasadena, this is the Blue Heaven Podcast. I want more of those. I need more. Give me all of the meh. What's up, Dodgers Nation? It's your boy. I'm Clint. You can find me on the internet machine as Real FRG.
And I'm Brooke, and you can find me at BrookeMe3 on everything. And you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere podcasts are found.
Everywhere. Literally everywhere. You could also watch us and interact with us live every Tuesday here on the Twitter and the Periscopes and the Facebooks. I think eventually we'll probably get into Instagram because we can't leave it all to that guy over there who we're about to introduce in a second. But Twitch and the YouTube. And, of course, find all of our great content on DodgersNation.com because it's where it's at. So before we get started, I want to tell them. Who? Send us, we want to give you some shout outs. Send us your area codes. Happy Justin Turner Day, guys. Send us your schedule when you're going to be away from home because we're going to come visit.
Right.
Let us know where you guys are representing Dodgers Nation at tonight. So we do have some fun stuff planned today. What better way than to literally have a party in my house? Or partying here with us in the house. I don't even remember writing this part, guys. I'm spoiling the fourth wall. I write
Stop
this.
reading the script, man.
I don't remember this part. But anyways, joining us on the show today is the man, the myth, the very magically delicious legend is that guy, Mr. Greg Bergman. What's going on?
What's happening?
We'll give you some
Happy
audience.
to be back here. I feel like I haven't talked Dodgers baseball in
You haven't.
a long time now. I think we talked Dodgers baseball.
Yeah. Literally
for a little
year.
while.
Literally.
Yeah, I think it's been literally a year.
Literally.
So we're here to bring you on because we want to know what you think when he's healthy, what LeBron can do for the Dodgers.
So see, actually, LeBron could do anything for the Dodgers. I'll put him at shortstop and catcher at the same time. I think it will work too.
I don't know. That is a tall ass shortstop. I'll tell you guys.
Him and Magic Johnson out there, that'd be quite the duo.
Ooh, up
If there's
the middle?
one guy
middle,
that
yeah.
could do everything, it would be LeBron. LeBron would be able to actually play any position on
That's
the
true.
field.
That's a couple of gazelles right there to tell
Put
you.
LeBron behind the plate. Holy
So
cow.
again, this is a Dodger show, and guys, I see Rip Friedman coming at us from San Diego, another LA-Boston showdown. That's what we want to talk about. We got Arnon whatever that is, Periscope.
nice.
Thanks for stopping by. Go Rams. So, Brooke, you want to talk about it?
You know,
Do you want to talk about your feelings, Brooke?
yeah. So
Let it
some
out,
of you
Brooke.
may know me. Some of you may not.
Never met him. He is a dude, by the way.
I don't know you. I am a dude.
Yes.
I am a longtime Saints fan. It hurts. It's hurt for a long time. It really hurt over the weekend.
This hurts for a long time. It's only been like a couple of days.
I've had to watch Steve Mason too many times tweet about the Rams and how
Nobody
the
needs
Saints
to watch-
fans are crybabies.
Nobody needs to watch Steve Mason that many times, but at the same time, he is very, very excited that he is. He is very excited the Rams are in the Super Bowl. I personally am with you. My brother went to Tulane, so he's a huge Saints fan. I'm a Raiders fan, so I grew up in a household where my dad was a huge Rams fan. So it was this big back and forth where I hated the Rams. So I was very much on your side there, and it's garbage non-call that really screwed everything up.
It
there.
is.
That was awful.
It is. And, you know, there's a lot I could say about that, but I won't say a whole lot about it, except
Dodgers,
other than the
baseball,
fact I'm very happy for Los Angeles as a whole. I think Los Angeles needs a championship, and they need it bad one way or another. And I don't really want like a women's basketball championship. We don't need that much. We need football championship. We need to bring football officially back to LA. And that's what we're doing.
I have a
can agree
problem.
with that.
I have a problem. To get one last point, my point out, I have a problem because the Rams are now in so one, we have two back-to-back really bad football games about to happen because you got Pro Bowl and then Super Bowl. But if the Rams win, that just gives Giants fans, that gives baseball Dodger haters. Oh, the Rams just came back and won. When's the last time the Dodgers won? That's what we're going to have to deal with, guys. So vote for Rally Meteor. Just hit the stadium. Everybody explodes. Like Tom Brady's legacy is still intact. Just saying, just getting that out there. JD_Dodger says, boo, San Diego. We got to go Saints. They got cheated. Boo Raiderettes. And Lakers
Raiderettes.
Celtics, I don't see that happening.
You know what? It's still possible. Anybody that says it is not possible is 100% still possible. LeBron James will be back soon enough. LeBron James. He'll be back soon, and it still can possibly happen. It's not going to, but it's possible.
And if the Kings work really hard, they could get.
They're not playing the Bruins,
They
man.
can play the Bruins. They got to work really hard.
Sources can't
Also
confirm.
a
Have they made
lifelong-
it out of the cellar yet?
Brooke is
no,
drunk.
I don't think so.
After also a lifelong Kings fan. It's been a really rough couple of years for me.
We always have
Sports-wise.
2012, 2014, and that's
I'll just
odd
just
year,
keep
or
hanging on
even
that.
year, even year, even year.
Not even that. It's just
3,
it happened
5.
to happen.
So, anyways, enough of all that. You guys want to get more from us? Hit us up on social media, and we'll like it, but we'll probably won't respond. But today on the show, we're pretty excited about this. We hope it goes well. It could be a lot of fun. We're gonna have special guests live via the magic of phones. We're going to be talking to the new Dodgers play-by-play man. Don't worry, he's not replacing Joe Davis, but he's going to be working alongside when Joe is not there, so I guess not working alongside. Tim Neverett will be on the phone with us in a bit. Brooke, this is a very exciting moment. This is a very exciting episode because we're going to be giving away this. This is the ultimate and magically delicious items, a signed Rob Segedin baseball.
You guys,
can we do that one over? Can we do that? Oh, this is live.
I'm
Sorry.
very, very excited about this. So let me tell you how special this is to me.
That was a really good Cracker Jack
I
box.
bought it 3 years ago, and it fell behind my bookshelf.
Oh.
And I was cleaning up behind my bookshelf this weekend, and I found it, and that's how we're giving it away. I don't remember where I got it, but it's autographed.
just the sentimental value.
Oh, apparently
it.
the camera broke.
Exactly.
Hey, the camera broke.
no.
The producer.
So
Don't worry, you guys can still hear us. Hey, producer, I need help. I pushed the record, but it messed up. But anyways, you guys can still hear us.
Yeah, so basically the sentimental value of this Rob Segedin baseball card is worth
One more time.
more than anything else that you could possibly give away.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much
Yeah.
behind this. This is a very intense special card.
It's so ingrained into my life. You
I'd
know,
like
it
to
was
announce.
there.
I'd like to
he had a
announce
couple
that.
good games.
I'd like to announce that at the end of this beer, I will be giving away this can.
Signed.
It fell behind my
Signed.
bookshelf.
It fell inside of me.
So, anyways, you can find this. I think we're going to throw it up on our Twitter. That's
that
where it's
what
going
it
to go.
is?
We're
Or
going to throw it up on our Twitter. And if you want to win this card, I would like you to retweet it with a comment on
Favorite Rob Segedin moment?
your favorite Rob Segedin moment. There you go.
Oh,
Because
that
that's
one
going to be a
episode.
challenge.
That one episode of Backstage Dodgers when his kid was born. They could see that,
That was
by the
good.
way.
That was a good episode. Yeah.
Gary, they can see that. Just
So,
saying. They
now
can
we're
see
checking
that.
out the
giving you a
manual
really good
settings.
show. Yeah.
We're going to set the focus to the touched area.
Well,
White
The
balance.
the
white
white
balance.
balance.
That's what's
Very
going on
important.
here is white balance.
You guys are seeing behind the scenes live. Podcast, this is just the worst.
This was
beginning.
all started by
This is
Rob
like-
Segedin.
It's like
I
10
kinda
minutes.
love it.
This card is cursed.
This is literally people tuning into a podcast about baseball. 10 minutes of not one thing about baseball.
Well, that's good.
Except
Rob
for
Segedin.
Segedin's
Yeah,
card.
it's Rob Segedin.
So, anyways, head to our Twitter, look for that tweet about Rob Segedin, retweet it. We'll pick you out, and we'll send you this card, and I'll send you an apology letter for that.
at Dodgers Nation.
Dodgers Nation.
Also on the show, although I think we got to set it up better, but we're going to look at some of the biggest stories in the last week in Dodgers Nation with our boy Clint Evans at Diamond Huggers, if you're nasty. Because as we've noticed, every time we do one of these shows, as you guys are talking about, Bobby_46 says Dodgers are cheap, and we've actually put out some content in regards to that. Every time we've been doing this podcast or this live stream, the next day or within a couple of days, something happened. The first show back this year, Yasmani Grandal went and signed with his hometown team of the Milwaukee Bucks, and then Russell Martin came over like the next day. So, anyways. But first, let us get to your live stream questions. Let's get some shout outs. Where you guys watching from? Mr. Blue 323. He says Dodgers or she. You went away. You went away. I saw you, and then you went away. It just said Dodgers. That was a great. You know what?
That's all that matters. You know,
couple
I
points.
got a little battle going on in our Facebook comments right now.
Oh.
Got Scott Erner saying Joe Davis is not the best, totally disconnected from the game. He's a poor man's Joe Buck, and everybody hates Joe Buck. That is the worst thing I've ever heard.
Can we remove people from Facebook?
Can we remove people from
From this
Los
mortal
Angeles
coil?
or
That's not
whatever?
a threat. That's not a threat.
We're not going to kill you.
Yeah.
Joe Davis is far not removed from the game. He's one of the best broadcasters I've listened to in quite some time, actually. He does a great job with Oral Hershiser. I love listening to Joe and Oral. They do a great job on the broadcast. Joe Buck, I don't have a problem with Joe Buck, but that's just rude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, when Vin left, I was really afraid with the follow-up from that. I didn't
tough
know
to
who was going
follow.
to take over, but from day one, I thought Joe Davis was one of the best possible replacements. He's done such a great job. So anything you have bad to say about him, you could find me in South Pasadena if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, we got the love coming in. Daniel, friend of one of our writers, friend of the show, Daniel Preciado, says Joe Davis is elite. I'd give him an 80 grade. 80 grade for the pulse of the game. Probably a 70 grade on most of the calls. And he knows when to be quiet at the right time, too. So that's good.
He's got that vin in him when he does that, where he just stops talking.
Who doesn't love a little vin in him?
Home run? Yeah.
Jessie Tafoya from Cheyenne, Wyoming. She says, Cheyenne, Wyoming loves L.A. All the way out there in Cheyenne. That's cool. That's
never
awesome.
met her.
Very
I've
cool.
never met her.
Cheyenne?
Yeah.
She's a good lady.
Nice lady.
Yeah.
Hello from Quad Cities, Illinois.
Magna, Utah. Dodger fan. Travis Harrison. Thank you, Travis.
So Rip Friedman says Dodgers going to charge $100 for a hot dog. We saw earlier it said Dodgers are cheap. I mean, there's other things going on. We've seen. I think we want to get to. I've seen some in the stream here about JT Realmuto back in the mouths of writers and all that. Actually came out on MLB.com today. But Dodgers are cheap. That's not necessarily to say they're not interested in putting the best product they can on the field, because as we saw in an article we posted over the weekend by, I think it was Blake who wrote it, great post that pretty much said the Dodgers trade. Dodgers will trade players. That's how they get better. They aim to trade.
They do.
And for the people that say, oh, they don't trade prospects. No, they just haven't traded the prospects that other people want. We haven't traded Seager. You know what? That worked out well. They haven't traded Bellinger. They haven't traded Buehler. All the players they wanted. We traded Willie Calhoun, who was, I think, the second-rated prospect in the system at the time.
There was no place for him.
Yeah,
there was no place
couldn't
for
play.
him.
And
he couldn't play defense.
There's no place for him in Texas.
Nope.
Yeah, everybody that was traded has kind of flamed out or been injured.
They traded 4 prospects for Manny Machado. And you don't hear anything about any of those products anymore. Do you ever hear about Jose De Leon anymore?
No. Well, yeah, I follow him on Instagram. He's coming back from Tommy John, guys, on his way back.
Right, but like those, Frankie Montas has been okay, maybe.
Yeah. Grant
had
Holmes,
rib surgery.
Jarrell Cotton.
Yeah.
All these names that were supposed to be so great are not that great anymore.
Yeah.
You don't even hear about them. Jarrell Cotton started off his year with Oakland playing pretty well, and then he was immediately sent down to AAA, and he never got his way back up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really trust the front office with who they decide to trade and who they decide to keep, especially prospect
There's
wise.
brilliant assessment on who's good, what's hot, who's not, and that's the way it is. And while the narrative in media or whatever it may be says these players are still good, maybe the Dodgers on the inside see this is the hole in their swing. This is the problem, and let's go get that guy.
I think that's what Andrew Friedman does best too. Is he knows who are the right guys to hold on to and who are the right guys to get rid of. You don't see Seager, Bellinger, Buehler, any of those guys going when that's obviously who everybody wants.
Yep.
So if the thought is with this JT Realmuto stuff being that Keibert Ruiz is one of the guys that's basically the centerpiece and not Alex Verdugo, that means that he sees something more in Verdugo, or he sees less in Ruiz than what we see as fans.
Can you remember how you felt before everybody knew Bellinger's name? That's the hard part is stepping back and remembering what you thought about him before he was this guy who you would never consider trading. And I don't remember what I thought about him when he was a highly touted prospect. I don't remember if I would have ever considered trading him at the time, but I'm sure I would have at the time.
I just remember 2 years ago he was tearing it up for the first month or the first 2 week or 2 of spring training, and then they kind of let him go back down to AAA because he wasn't ready yet.
Right. Yeah.
But that was all we heard about him. And then all of a sudden you see him in the next spring training. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at Bellinger. This guy is amazing.
He hit a home run out of Maryvale Park, home of the Brewers. Yasmani's current team and also team during the NLCS.
Not friend of the show.
Not friend of the show, Yasmani Gondal. But yeah, he wasn't ready in the same way. Now I want to backtrack because I didn't want to leave out Zach Lee
Should
for
always leave out
CT3.
Darvish.
Just saying, yeah. Sorry, I normally I did not mean to curse in your guys' ears on a Tuesday, but Zach Lee was traded and we got CT3, and he's been worth 8 wins above replacement in his 2 years in LA, or almost 10 wins actually in his 2+ years, whatever the hell it is. Like, they know how to trade the right guys.
They're just
Sidebar on that, Farhan was the guy who knew how to find the diamonds in the rough, like the Max Muncy types and all that. That's what it kind of felt like to me. But let's talk.
But real fast, sorry. Andrew Friedman knows how he does these moves that he makes are more than just regular moves. Like he'll trade for Andrew Heaney and then flip him. For Yasmani Grandal at the time was the right move.
Right.
But the other way around. Heaney went for Howie Kendrick.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
Grandal,
always something going on.
Grandal
they're
came up
flipping
with
guys,
Eflin, and
'cause
Eflin came over
Right.
and brought up Jimmy Rollins, who gave more time for Seager to come up and get right and be elite when he came up. Like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's the right trades at the right time.
At the end of the day, there's always something going on beneath the surface. So when
Yeah.
they see these like Yasiel Puig trades, that's that's the first thing that jumps to mind. That's not where they're done. That's not where they finish up. There's something else going on underneath there.
Perez on YouTube, or sorry, Twitch here. Perez 1619. Yu Darvish is going to start for the Rams at quarterback for the Super Bowl.
He's tipping his passes.
There's a couple of points right there. So let's talk about the Realmuto in the room. So JT's now back in the window here in the news, and that's where it is. Trade a month ago, and for all offseason has been Cody Bellinger. Like we said, now he's untradeable. We didn't know when he became untradeable. Probably when he hit 39 home runs. Thoughts, Bergman, lead us off.
Well, I think that you should absolutely go after JT Realmuto. If the thought is really that it's Keibert Ruiz, then yes, go move Keibert Ruiz and whatever other prospects that they're willing to give up for JT Realmuto, because you're hoping that Ruiz eventually becomes Realmuto.
Yes.
Realmuto is an all-star now, or an all-star now. So of course you go get that guy, and he's still young. He still has, and he's under control for a couple more years. You don't know what Keibert Ruiz is going to be, because all we've seen from him is that in Double-A he played really well in the postseason, and that's it. We haven't seen anything else. He played well in spring training last year, but that's spring training.
You got one?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it amongst ourselves a little earlier.
It goes down in the Slack channel, Dodgers
It
Nation.
does
guys.
go down in the Slack channel.
lot
Sometimes
of-
we post it because it's
They
a little
can't see
entertaining.
the Slack though.
Yeah.
No. A lot of times you cannot see the
There's a
Slack.
lot. There's a lot of brilliant baseball minds plus AJ on the guitar.
Plus AJ, who's tuning in live now, so that's perfect. That's for you, AJ. Yeah, but we talked about it.
Shout out.
You said it yourself. You're counting on some guy who you think is going to grow into an all-star, guy, and he might. He very well might.
I might edit into the podcast right now. I might edit Smash Mouth's All-Star.
All-star.
Just
Hey
to-
now. Yeah.
I mean, he could become Yadier Molina.
He could.
Yeah.
He could,
Or
but
he could become AJ Ellis.
he could. Right,
It could
exactly.
become a healthy version of, he didn't blow out his knees, Victor Martinez, who was a brilliant catcher and a fantastic bat, and one of the comps to Keibert Ruiz. But again, the problem right now, like Bergman stole my thunder, because brilliant minds.
Yeah, there you go.
JT Realmuto is an all-star now, and my problem is that as much as we don't want to accept it, the window for the Dodgers in the NL West is going to be closing. The Padres are so close to being incredibly good. So right now, this is sort of your win now opportunity. You've punted 2 World Series in a row in a way, because you had a 5-month catcher in one part. JT, we haven't seen Realmuto in the playoffs, of course, either, because Miami hasn't sniffed the playoffs since 2003 or whatever it is.
Yep.
But Keibert Ruiz is somebody who could be very, very good. But again, Realmuto is somebody who's young enough and is great now.
I just want to disagree with one thing. You're saying
No.
that hey, I'm allowed to disagree with you. But
You know whose show this is.
it's your show. And it's actually Brooks' show.
No,
I don't
I'm
even
just
think
here.
it's
I'm just a pretty
FRG show.
face.
But no, you're saying that the Dodgers window is closing, and I just don't necessarily agree with the fact that it's closing. This is a very young team.
Yeah.
And then they've been
Yeah.
and below in the minor leagues, you have a lot of young guys that are ready to come up sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So like Gavin Lux, you have
Yeah.
other Bob. Oh, is it May? I think it was
Dustin May?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dustin May.
There's-
Thank you.
yeah.
Plenty of guys. Very young team. This team can compete for a very long time. Just like the Padres are getting there. The Dodgers are just going to sustain from what they're seeing.
Yeah,
from what
and
I've seen.
for a lot of reasons, that's an argument people make when they say don't make that trade for Realmuto. Like, it would be understandable if the window was indeed like legit closing. Like,
Yeah.
we are not going to contend 5 years from now.
Yeah, we're
that would be
seeing-
understandable. We would need him. He'd be
Yeah.
he would already be on the team. That
Yeah.
would be a thing. But since they are a team that will compete for the foreseeable future, and they don't really have any stiff competition for the next 3 to 4 years at least, other than Colorado. I mean, realistically, Arizona's
Colorado's gonna fall. They don't want-
Colorado will, but Arizona has pretty much committed to a rebuild without saying rebuild. But they are. That's what they're doing.
Reimagine.
Arenado's as a free agent next
For
year.
Exactly.
Colorado, and they don't want to
Yeah.
give him the $30 million in
And they
arbitration
won't.
that he
Right.
damn well deserves.
They won't. Yeah, and
They're-
Farhan's in San Francisco to rebuild that team from
Yeah.
scratch. That's what he's
Oh,
doing. That's
that-
why he has all of our little diamonds in the rough that we had thought we found. And are all on the
I miss
team
you,
now.
Pat Venditti.
He's getting the team. He's getting the band back together up there.
Yeah.
is.
It's Colorado's the closest right now, but honestly, beyond that, it looks like San Diego might be the next up and comer. Especially they can pick up. They've been in hot on the Kluber front or whatever, even though Kluber was never going anywhere and still isn't going anywhere.
Yep.
But I'm not saying, it's not like slamming shut the window. Obviously, the Dodgers will remain competitive, but it's just the rest of the league, some teams are going to catch up, and that worries me. And then all the other teams you have to get through. The Brewers are still going to be really good despite Yasmani Gondal. They have insane arms in the bullpen that are now going to become starters. So it's worrisome that you might not get there, in 2020. It's going to be harder to get to that World Series. So that's what I'm saying. You win now. You try to go for it now. And by the way, my trade is Keibert Ruiz, Brock Stewart, because we need to get rid of him, please, for the love
Poor
of
guy,
God.
man. I feel so bad for him.
Hey, it's his fault. He's bad.
Yeah.
Maybe Don Mattingly wants him.
Yeah, he
He's
probably
like,
gets
"Brock."
some decent innings. Well, with him, they should have stopped trying to start him. The splits on him starting relieving is like 6 ERA versus a 2.5
They
ERA.
just needed to make a decision on the poor guy.
Yeah, need to make a
so
decision.
I think his frequent flyer miles were ridiculous.
And then you'll love this. Joc Pederson's the third guy in my trade.
Mr. Joc Pederson. And that segues us into our next thing.
So, Brooke, and we see, let's get a couple of fan takes.
Sorry, Joc Pederson is not the centerpiece. Keibert Ruiz is the centerpiece. That's
absolutely.
how far Joc Pederson has fallen, is that he is not a centerpiece. He's in the World Series. He has played in both World Series, played very well.
Yeah.
So he is now not even, he's just a throw-in with the Keibert Ruiz deal?
No, because
that's what we're at?
That's where the weird thing, and he's going to get into that, I think, right now, is that Joc is just not – I think he's not exceptionally gifted in Dodgers' eyes. However, I keep hearing random noises too. I don't know if somebody's volume is on, but if it is, quiet on set, please. But
Gary,
with Joc, it's weird because all other teams value him like insanely. Atlanta has been in the mix, like we're going to get into right now. The White Sox are apparently super high on him, and he's a really, really good player. The problem is in Los Angeles, and Greg, as you know, having hosted several of those DN postgame shows, fans hate the platoon.
They do.
And he is the prototypical platoon player.
Well, the splits are
insane.
Ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, he's like a $120 hitter against lefty.
He's a 180 hitter in his career against lefty.
So you can't
and
play him.
It's actually not that much better against right-handed pitchers. As a matter of fact,
he's
not a high average guy. And,
no, he's not a high
not that
average
average
guy,
means anything anymore.
But he's a good OPS plus guy.
He is.
He's like he'll average about 125. He gets on base and he hits for power.
His strikeout rate's gone down significantly.
Yeah, he
went
went
from playoffs.
He went from a
dropped.
29% strikeout rate down to 19% over the course of his career.
Right.
Except for one outlier bad year in 2017. He's a 25 home run guy. As a dude who's only getting maybe 450 to 520 at bats in a season because never don't even let him sniff a left-handed batter. But he just doesn't make a lot of sense in LA anymore.
If he's a strictly platoon guy, like we're saying, and I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm saying it's okay for him to go. I'm not advocating for him to stay here in LA. But if he's a strictly platoon guy, then he does fit what the Dodgers want. They want a guy that is going to be a strictly platoon guy.
He does, yeah. Because I do feel like that for that reason, it confused me when I heard like other teams were heavily in on him. Because we've heard from friends who have connections to scouts in Seattle that people view him very high. To me, that was like such a weird thing because I was like, he's a good player. He put up a 125 OPS plus last year. That's nothing to scoff at, especially for his limited role. But most teams in Major League Baseball still haven't really warmed up to the whole platoon idea. Some of them have, and some of them have kind of committed to it, but that's more of like a one position type thing. That's not across the board with your team. The Dodgers are different in that way, in that they have like 6 positions where they platoon people because they just move them all around all the time. But nobody else really has that. But Atlanta needed an outfielder. They don't really anymore. They signed Markakis. The Marlins, Heyman talked about how they needed a left-handed bat in the outfield, and I've always said that he fits well in Miami because
smaller park, he can hit those home runs.
Smaller park, he's kind of like he just belongs at the beach. He's that kind of guy. It just makes sense. On top of that, they also, they're a team in the middle of rebuilding an entire organization, and if he can bring pop to Miami, that's something to bring fans out. Stolen bases aren't going to bring fans to Miami because they're not going to win games, and everybody knows that.
No.
So if they can bring that young guy in. at a relatively low cost. I think arbitration, he's earning like $5 million or something like that.
Yeah, he's super cheap. He's still a very serviceable player, and he could help some of that young core.
And they could afford to give him every day at bats. He could play almost every day there and, work on his approach against left-handed pitching because he hasn't gotten the chance to in LA.
Right, and I totally agree with that. And I think that especially if you can move him and get some value out of it, if JT Realmuto is a part of that deal that gets you some value out of him, then great. Just the idea that the trade is centered around Keibert Ruiz to me and not Joc Pederson in your trade scenario is bananas to me because of what he can do in the postseason, who most people are valued more so in the postseason, what they can do.
If Miami had a chance.
That's not happening. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah. So I think with that, it's going to be, it's not going to be a straight up Keibert, Joc plus a prospect for JTER. It's going to be those three, those two plus a prospect for a different type of prospect and JTR. That's what it's going to end up being, and that's what ultimately is going to be the purpose of throwing Joc in. Not to mention balancing out the lineup a little bit more because I think they really are concerned now with their approach against left-handed pitching. It's been, not to use the phrase, but the hole in their swing for the past 5 years, 6 years now. They just have not been able to hit left-handed pitching, and that's really come down to the playoffs big time.
So some of the pulse of the audience here, we have friend of the stream, Filipino Bueller back. Him and Perez 1619 back saying Joc might translate better to an AL team. Wouldn't Joc work better as an AL in the AL as a DH? He's still a positive defender.
Yeah, I can't see him as a DH.
Yeah, I think we learned in 2017 he's not probably a center fielder anymore.
No.
He's a great left fielder. He has a sneaky strong arm. He gets the job done.
It's pretty quick too for he's got that baby fat look on him.
Right,
because he has baby fat.
He
still.
does have baby fat. Still.
Very fast.
I think he's like 13 years old.
Minors.
He's been putting on that baby fat in approaching having Poppy for the last
exactly. You remember him coming up? He was pretty fast.
Yeah, wasn't he close to a 30-30 guy when he was coming up?
In AAA he had been a 30-30 guy the year before, and then
he was like, I'm going to hit 30 home runs or whatever he did. He was like, who are you?
And then he forgot to hit home runs. You got to make contact with the ball
and get caught stealing.
Ricky on Periscope has a very that is 5 eyes.
Oh, yeah.
5 eyes. Very important point. Joc has a cool dog. Blue is a good boy.
Blue is a good boy.
Blue, I think Blue is a girl.
Is it a boy or girl?
She is a very good boy.
It's a good dog.
And by the way, Thursday you guys can go take pictures with Joc and his dog and your doggos at some park. I think we're gonna have a story coming out on it tomorrow if Evans did his job today.
At Diamond Hoggers.
At Diamond Hoggers, I know I got to razz him a bit about that, but yeah, Joc has a really cool dog. For sure. All right, I'm gonna give Diego here the love that he desires. Mention the Micheladas. I'm not gonna say the last part.
Diego.
No. So Micheladas goes in part with this. SP Dodger, not SD, not Tim, but SP Dodger on YouTube earlier.
Are they cousins?
Yes. Yes. Said earlier, $300 million plus year in TV revenue before they sell a ticket or a Dodger dog, and the highest attendance in the game. But they're worried about a salary tax, a luxury tax. I get it. I cannot fault the team for what they're doing because this is literally like about verbatim what they said they were going to do, what Stan Kasten said they were going to do when they came into office, if that's what we want to call it.
Right.
Yeah, before 2 World Series runs.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think this is just a good debate in general, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Is that when we say things like this, like we understand what they're doing. We're talking about the owners. We understand why the owners are giving less money to the players. And staying steadfast at 5 years, 6 years. It won't go past the 6 years. It makes more sense for a team, right?
Yeah.
But then the players are going after these 10-year deals, or they're going for these $300 million contracts, $200 million contracts, whatever it is. And the Dodgers won't pay it, despite having all this TV money, all this money that's in the parking lots, whatever it is that's happening. Are we on the side of the players and having them get the most money that they deserve, or are we on the side of the owners and the team that's then not willing to spend that much money because they want to stay below a luxury tax that's not a salary cap?
Well, the luxury tax is stupid because it's just hurting baseball on both sides. The owners would be able to spend more money, and of course they're the ones working in there on the CBA more than other people. Of course, MLB, not trade rumors, but the other one, Players Association, are a huge part of that. But MLB TR is a great site.
Also.
I lost my train of thought. I wanted to plug. I get paid every time.
Every time you mention
every
MLBPA.
time I plug. What were we talking about? Who are you guys?
The ownership group.
Ownership.
There you go.
Yeah, ownership. Are you inside the ownership or are you inside the players?
That's right. Honestly, neither, because everybody makes way too much money. But it's really is they were put into a bad situation, and the whole situation really just looks like it was another way for baseball to be able to get more money. So it's like, hey, if you guys want to be competitive, don't you want to go over this penalty? Don't you want to go over this, soft salary cap? Why aren't you doing it? Tony Clark, who's the president or whatever he is of the Players Association, he straight out said almost that sort of thing. Like, I don't understand why teams aren't incurring this thing that's supposed to be a penalty. You shouldn't aim, unless it's the final 5 seconds of a basketball game, you shouldn't aim to foul. You shouldn't aim to get that penalty, whatever it is. So I think it's very stupid, and obviously it's just another way for them to bring in more money. And now it's really, really hurting baseball players.
And there's a lot I have to say about it, but I will say this. It is a lot easier to spend somebody else's money than your own money.
Of course.
And as a fan, you look at these guys and they say they have billions and billions of dollars collectively. And that's great because we don't have billions and billions of dollars collectively, but there's a reason why they have this much money, because they're smart with their money. They don't do what I do and give it away to random people just because they were nice. They're not dumb like me. So
look, I'm actually on your side on this stuff. I believe in staying within the right cash confines and everything like that. It's just, what you're going to see is now you have guys going out on Twitter, when having this Twitter era where we're allowed to actually say whatever the hell we want to say. Jake Arrieta is coming out on Twitter and just blasting MLB. Brandon McCarthy does it. All these guys are coming out and actually saying how much this is garbage, so that in 2021, when it becomes to a point when this could possibly be a strike season,
could be.
It could very well happen because they're upset, and the players are actually they don't like what's happening. They don't like see JD Martinez wait till February to get a big contract. Jake Arrieta, I don't even remember when he got his last year, but it was later.
It was late.
It was in spring training, or just like minutes before spring training.
Right.
He
Before
got
first game.
He got $75 million, $3. I mean, 3 years.
$3.
Something like that. And now you're still waiting on Bryce Harper. You're still waiting on Manny Machado. You're
Right.
still waiting because guys, and it seems like that the Dodgers are waiting to see if Bryce Harper comes down, goes down to 5 years, 6 years. If Manny Machado says, you know what, I don't want $300 million anymore, I'll take the $200 million, and then something like that happens.
Yeah. Nick Markakis, an all-star for the first time last year, signed today for $4 million. Plus a $2 million opt-out or a $6 million, I think it was a team option. The dude was an all-star last year. He hit like 320 on the season or something like that.
He was great.
Good ball player. He's older, so you understand that.
He had something to say about that, though, that you were saying, right?
He did. He went out on, I think it was on Twitter. He's like, look, I'm playing a kid's game. I don't care. It's not about the money for me. I'm just happy to just be playing. I don't really, that's not verbatim, but it's basically along those lines.
He's an outlier, so he's a little bit different than everybody else.
Right,
He's legitimately just having fun.
Right.
And he should. He just had a fantastic season at like 35 years old or whatever.
They made a playoff appearance. They had fun.
Appearance.
They won a ball game.
They did win one.
He hasn't made very many long-time Oriole.
No,
Nick Markakis hasn't
made
made
a rough career in terms of playoff appearances.
Yeah, he's saying it the right way. A Scully fan, by the way, has a very good trade, and I'm on board with this trade. I don't think you guys will be, but he says Joc for Bumgarner.
Like, you want them to fight or?
No, not V.
No,
not V.
Oh,
but
4.
Yeah, that's the trade.
Well, Joc is from San Francisco area, so
Scandal.
Yeah, he is from up there. I think I saw him wearing a Giants hat before he was drafted. So,
win in Rome.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's go ahead and get one more, and then we got to take a quickie break so we can bring in our special phone guest. Special phone guest. Only $9.99 a minute, guys.
You make it sound like nobody can know.
This one's going to be super easy, I tell you. I'm going to give this one to Mr. Bergman.
All right.
When is Harper signing?
I mean, actually, I know Harper really well, apparently. So
He's
tomorrow,
signing after this break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, who knows? I mean, he talked to Tony Romo about it. Did you see that?
Yeah, he's supposed to go to the Rangers.
Yeah. That would be the craziest signing of all time if the Rangers somehow got Bryce Harper.
They're like, we're not making the playoffs, but we're going to sell tickets.
We got Alex Rodriguez for a lot of money. We can get Bryce Harper for a lot of money.
Too. They're really good at bad financial decisions.
Who knows?
So, like we've been mentioning, as we gear up to take a break, like we've been mentioning, we're going to be going to spring training. We're super excited about it. A lot of our Dodgers Nation team's going to be going there. And you can too, because This spring, follow your favorite teams to Arizona for Cactus League Baseball. And by favorite teams, of course, we mean your Los Angeles Dodgers. Amazing weather and landscapes, exciting outdoor adventures, incredible food. I can guarantee you that one. Arizona is the perfect home base for baseball fans.
Yeah, 10 stadiums, 15 MLB teams, 75-degree temperatures, perfect weather. All 10 stadiums within 50 miles of one another in the greater Phoenix area. And you can meet and actually interact with all these players and even get autographs before or after games. I mean, you really can't beat the fan experience at spring training, can you?
Yeah, no, I think we can both attest to this. But, yeah, there's just so much to do and see nearby. Like I've said before, Arizona is known for its incredible landscapes and thrilling outdoor adventures. So you can check off some of those bucket list items you may have. Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, Horseshoe Bend. Even if we're going to Horseshoe Bend twice, you can see so many more options out there. Super fun stuff.
Yeah, and even better than those outdoor options, you can check out these amazing restaurants and bars nearby. There's a ton of craft breweries out there, like Four Peaks, Angel's Trumpet Ale House, and Goldwater Brewing Company, all great places.
And, of course, my favorite part of spring training will always be breakfast. Great stuff out there.
You love your breakfast. Mm-hmm. You do. Arizona is super family-friendly, and with half of the league in town, there's always something to do with the kids. And even grandma, if you want to bring her along with you. Why not? Grandma.
So plan your spring training getaway today at arizona.com visit arizona.com/spring training. Again, that is visit arizona.com/spring training. Even download the Visit Arizona app on the fantastic, well put together Google Play Store or that other one, Apple things. Apples are delicious. Anyways, take a quickie break, and when we get back, Tim Neverett.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't tell them what to do.
Okay.
And we're back as I get the little bit of Brooke putting his hat on here on the live stream side. But we're excited about this one. As soon as I heard the word come down, I reached out to him immediately because, in LA, we're a welcoming town, and people might not always believe that.
Is that what we are?
I'm saying it right now.
That's good.
Yeah. When you're here, you're family.
The Sunshine State or whatever we are.
Yeah, something like that.
Better ingredients.
Better California, I think is how it goes. But joining us on the phone today is a new play-by-play man joining the Dodgers this season, Mr. Tim Neverett. What's going on, Tim? Welcome to the stream, and I guess welcome to Los Angeles.
Well, thank you, Clint, Brooke, Craig. Glad to be on with you guys tonight, and looking forward to getting going. Looking forward to getting out to Arizona for spring training for sure.
Yeah, well, definitely all of us too. So we'll have to go stalk you a little bit out there, and at least get an image or have you sign Brooks' forearm. He loves tattoos, so
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can already tell you got a good, you got a talent in your voice. So yeah, it's gonna be good. We'll get to talk to you out there.
So you're rating the guest. Sorry, I didn't know it was going to be like this for you, Tim.
It's good to know what we're working with before we start working with you.
So for people that might not know, the last couple of seasons you've been working over in Boston, and we'll go ahead and cut that part for the audience because things are a little still a little sensitive over here. Of course, coming to LA, we do hope you like the sun because that's out a little bit more often and it's super shiny. And one of the things I wanted to let you know, I really hope you're a bigger fan of Randy Newman over Neil Diamond because we love LA.
I gotta tell you, I was at a luncheon. No, it was a dinner. I'm sorry. I spoke at a dinner recently, and they played Sweet Caroline, and I dropped my head, and I said, "Are you kidding me?" I've heard this so many times. It's too much. But at the same time, I'm really looking forward to getting out there and getting going. And I was with the Dodgers organization in AAA in Las Vegas, so I've got a little familiarity with the organization. Although the last standing member of the organization when I was in AAA just went to Cincinnati, and that was Matt Kemp. So they've had a complete turnover since I was doing AAA games in Vegas for the Dodgers. But I think that when you look at the Dodger broadcast team, guys, I think you got to understand that there's I'm not replacing anybody. I'm just adding on. I'm another broadcaster, and Charlie's going to do a fewer games this year, so I'm going to fill a lot of the dates for Charlie. Joe does a lot of games for Fox, so I'll move over to the TV side when he goes to Fox. And, so everybody's going to be back. Oral will be back. I'm going to work with Omar a little bit in spring training and Ned Coletti in spring training. And, looking forward to all that stuff. But I'm just going to be another voice, an additional voice on the radio quite a bit, on television also. And looking forward to helping out and taking those spots when they're open.
Awesome. Are you going to be living out here in LA then?
I'll be mostly on the road, believe it or not, this year.
Oh.
In the future,
those damn leases, huh?
That's the plan. Yeah, leases, real estate costs right now. I'll be staying in LA as far as I know quite a bit. And I'll be around the ballpark quite a bit, and I'll be working home games. I'm waiting to see how many at this point, but But I think primarily I'll be on the road for this year.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Tim, you talked about it a little bit in that part you were just talking about, but folks may not know that this isn't the first time you've worked with the Dodgers, is it?
Yeah.
It's not, and like I said, when I was in Vegas, I worked with the Las Vegas 51s. They're now with the A's, I think, and they're the Aviators. But, there was a time when, we had some really good players back then. And I'll never forget being in Salt Lake City the night that Russell Martin was called up. And I was really happy to see Russ Martin come back to the Dodgers. I've got a good relationship with Russ anyway because of our time together with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mm-hmm. But it was a rain delay when Russ got called up in Salt Lake City. And he'll remember this, too, because get to the ballpark and you knew the weather was going to be bad and it's just raining and raining. I'm sitting up there in the booth. I had all my pregame work done and I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is a waste because we're not going to play. And then Russ got called up during the rain delay and then never came back.
Yeah, not long after that, they actually picked up Deanna Navarro out of nowhere and then not much longer, but that worked out for LA for sure for a good number of years.
Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim. So you were just coming from Boston, obviously, and the Boston fans are known as being crazy, wild fans, and everybody, you get Matt Damon guys and people, they just see them and think, okay, that's the type of fan that you're normally going to get. But I think LA gets a bad rap for being bad fans, where they don't show up early or leave late or whatever, or leave early, whatever it is. But what are you expecting to see the difference between the two fan bases coming here?
Well, fortunately, over the years, I've been to LA a lot. I've done a lot of games at Dodger Stadium. And the neat thing about it, the thing that I like about it, is that it's kind of like an old-fashioned heavyweight boxing match. Because when I used to cover the boxing matches in Vegas, too, they give you a list of the celebrities who were there. and I remember during the World Series this year, I mean, they would take shots on the Diamond Vision of who is there. And it's cool. It's a who's who. I like the LA fan. I don't blame them for arriving late. in leaving early because I understand the traffic pattern. It's not that easy to negotiate on some nights, but Dodger Stadium is one of the coolest places there is in baseball. It has stood the test of time, will continue to stand the test of time, and it's always been one of my favorite places of all time, and I'm really, really thrilled to be able to be part of the organization now. But I think as far as the fans go, I think in Boston there's more of an edge to it because, I mean, look, right now, and I'm in New England right now, it's a warm night. It's 16 degrees. The other day it was 1 degree. People have to deal with that crap, that weather. You know, in L.A., everybody's happy all the time. And as you said, the sun is really shiny.
Yep.
Still
so
sell out.
It mellows people out a little bit. I think it's a cool crowd in L.A., and I'm really looking forward to being there more often.
He's just saying all the right things, and we appreciate it. So let's give him a couple of points here. So now that we've helped build you up a little bit, this is your opportunity to knock a couple pegs down just in case you say the wrong answer again. We're still a little sensitive, but knowing that you grew up in the New England area, it's probably going to be a loaded question, but what was your favorite team growing up?
My favorite team growing up, believe it or not, I had two of them. Mm-hmm. I played, when I was 7 years old, I began playing Little League Baseball for a team called the Dodgers.
Hey, I'm familiar.
I've heard of them.
And I played for the Dodgers until I was 12 years old. And then I went to Babe Ruth baseball and played 3 years for the Royals. And then after that, I played American Legion baseball, and our uniforms were exact replicas of the Dodgers.
Look at that. He's got big league experience already.
Yeah. They were LA Dodgers replicas. And then I played a year of semi-pro baseball in the summer, and the team name was the Dodgers.
There you go.
In my hometown of Nashua, New Hampshire, in the 1940s, the Brooklyn Dodgers had their AAA club here. Roy Campanella played in my hometown, and Don Newcomb played in my hometown. And there's a big mural at one of the buildings downtown that has those two guys on it. And people still, talk about the players that came through Nashua and played for the Dodgers. So there's always been a Dodger connection. And then when I got to do the games in AAA for the Dodgers, that kind of sealed it in my mind, as I thought at that time. But I've always liked the Dodgers. And when I was a kid growing up, I mean, the infield was Ron Say and Bill Russell and Davey Lopes and Steve Garvey. They stayed together for so long.
Yep.
And watching Kenny Landrum make basket catches in the outfield. Steve Yeager was the catcher. And then when I was doing AAA games, Steve Yeager was one of our coaches, and got to meet him and hang out with him a little bit and get to know him. And so it was really a neat Dodger connection. Now, I liked the Red Sox when I grew up because I grew up 45 minutes from Fenway Park, but the Red Sox weren't very good when I grew up. But because I played for the Dodgers, and a lot of kids did that, if you played for a team that was named after a major league team, you would follow that team. And believe it or not, and I've got the pictures to prove it, I was a Dodger.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see those for proof, Tim. We're gonna need to know.
Well, I think we got a perfect segue then into the next question Brooke has.
We do, yeah. So obviously you got a lot of connections on this team as you come over.
Oh, we got a former Dodger we're talking to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. First of all, there's that. You also have the Russell Martin connection you talked about, and now you have the Joe Kelly connection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that, what are you most excited with the Dodgers team this upcoming season? What are you most excited about?
Well, first of all, you guys are going to love Joe Kelly. Mm-hmm. Joe's a free spirit. He's a Southern Californian. Mm-hmm. He was a skateboarder dude when he was growing up. He didn't even follow baseball when he grew up. And then realized he could throw a ball through a brick wall and said, maybe I can make a living doing this.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, with the help of the UCR coaches, too. UC Riverside helped on that one. But
Joe's really cool. You guys are going to like him. And, there was a thing in Boston called Joe Kelly Fight Club because and somebody asked me the other day, what do you think of the Joe Kelly Fight Club? I said, well, the first rule of Joe Kelly Fight Club is you don't talk about Joe Kelly Fight Club.
I love it.
So I can't.
You'll like Joe. I think he's going to be a good addition to the bullpen. I mean, you know what? He had his ups and downs like any pitcher does, like any player does. But when he needed to be clutch during the World Series, in the postseason, you guys look back and see what he did. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why the Dodgers said, we need this guy. Mm-hmm. And they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And, he loved it in Boston. He loved the way the fans reacted to him. But I do believe that the Dodgers saw what he did. And here's a guy who can hit triple digits with a fastball with regularity. He's got a good changeup. He's got a good curveball. And it's when he uses them the right way, he is extremely effective. And we saw that during the postseason, especially during the World Series.
Oh, yeah, he was exceptional. And I think that was part of, he spoke on the pitch he got from Los Angeles and, the way they viewed his stuff and all that, how much that played up in his decision to come to L.A. It was really cool to see that, Dodgers understand the player that they, just helped beat them, but two, that he understands, wow, this team really does get me. And I'll buy them a nice cake or something like that. I don't know what you do in this situation. I've never been a baseball player. I'm not cool like Tim here. Speaking of nice cake, though, so you are going to be, a little bit around LA. You're going to be, hopefully by 2020, like you said, out this way. You got to talk food in Los Angeles, and I know my producer will love this one. He's always about that. What are your go-to spots out here?
Well, usually, I'll tell you what, during the World Series, I didn't have time to go anywhere. Yeah. Do you realize that during the World Series, before games 3, 4, and 5, I had to find different ways to eat a Dodger dog. One night it was chili and cheese. The other night it was just ketchup. I mean, so I tried to be creative with the Dodger dog for 3 nights, but we didn't have time to go anywhere, especially we had an 18-inning game in Game 3.
Yeah.
So that was only a mere 7 hours and 20 minutes long.
You could have walked away from that one and got a meal, I think.
Yeah, you could have came and met us over at Mohawk Bend where we had the best service.
Well, maybe, but I'll be, obviously I'll be looking for a list. I mean, there's some places that I've gone in the past in LA that I really like, but this last trip out, I didn't get a chance to go anywhere except for the hotel for breakfast. That was it. One day. Oh, how about this? I'm at the team hotel for breakfast before Game 5. And I look over, and who's eating breakfast? It's about 4 tables over from me. Sandy Koufax.
Oh, wow.
I mean, sorry, we never heard of him.
Yeah. That's not so bad. That's not so bad.
So I'm going to help you tune that story up. I had breakfast during the World Series with Sandy Koufax. That's the way you're telling that story from here on out.
No, I didn't have World Series breakfast with Sandy. He was in the same
near Sandy.
Yeah,
near Sandy.
It still works the same. You get people drunk enough at a bar. That's a great bar story, I can tell you. I'm going to go ahead and take that story. That story is now mine. I've taken it, but we'll go ahead and make sure. That we on the stream, we're going to ask people to send us their best food suggestions for you, and we'll get that over to you because that's one thing Dodgers fans are. They're big time foodies.
We like to eat. We like to eat a lot.
Yeah. Again, I could already tell you my producer has about 40 or 50 different spots he wants to send you to his own.
Right. He's probably already sending it over to you.
I'm good. I'll take them all.
All right. So one thing before we let you go, because we don't want to take too much of your time, and I'm sure obviously you're with the Dodgers now, so we'll have plenty of time to talk and interact with you over the course of the season, hopefully, provided you like us. We wanted to know, so obviously today the Hall of Fame results came out, and we haven't talked about it yet on the show, but we wanted to argue a bit about internally, I guess we did. What are your thoughts on the results that came down today?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that we finally had somebody who was 100% in the vote, Mariano Rivera, because quite frankly, it's been ridiculous with some players that didn't get 100% because a sports writer felt nobody should ever do it, so they didn't vote for somebody even though they'd be worthy. I mean, Mariano Rivera was absolutely worthy. So I'm glad we got past that one, and that box is now checked that somebody's worthy of getting 100% of the vote. I'm glad we're past that. I was, on the controversial side, I was kind of frankly surprised that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens didn't get more votes, than they got in the past. I think they're right around the same as they were last year.
Yeah, I think this is the first year they trended down.
Yeah, even. Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty close to where they were, but Roy Halladay, obviously, I mean, with what he did on the baseball field, he was amazing. With Mike Mussina, one of the things you got to remember about Mike Mussina is he played his whole career in the American League East in some pretty hitter-friendly ballparks. I mean, Baltimore, you guys ever been to Baltimore?
I have, yeah.
I mean, that's like a
Never heard of it.
wiffle ball. That's like a wiffle ball field. But Yankee Stadium in right field is a wiffle ball field.
Oh, it is now, yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to, look at the house that Ruth built and everything else. You know why Babe Ruth and Roger Maris hit all those home runs? Because the dimensions didn't change, and it's only like 200 feet down the line. It's crazy. I mean, you look at what the Yankees do there. Aaron Judge mishits a ball, and it goes 10 rows up.
Yeah.
Right field. So, Mike Mussina had to pitch in those environments and was extremely effective. And I think the voters realized that. And I'm happy for those guys. I'm happy for all of them that got in. And, certainly Edgar Martinez, that is a huge deal for the Mariners. But, I was, I think, mostly surprised that Bonds and Clemens didn't really move the needle at all.
I wanted to go back to Mike Mussina for just a second because I think Mike Mussina was a really good pitcher, very good pitcher. Was he Hall of Fame worthy good pitcher? I mean, was he that good? I mean, he was very. He was great. I mean, but I don't think was he. What do you have? Like he had under 300 wins, which I know that number doesn't matter.
270 wins in I think it was 18 season career. To have that many at that time, and like Tim's saying, in those ballparks to put up 270 wins,
sure. Insane. Congratulations to him. I think, but there's guys
in the heat of the steroid era. All right, go ahead.
He had a lot working.
I just think that when it's a guy that is not at the level of maybe some of the better pitchers that are in there, not at the level of these great like Warren Spahns and all like the really really big Nolan Ryan, Sandy Koufax names. Is that what the Hall of Fame is for? Is really what I want to know. Is it for the Hall of Very Good, or is it the Hall of Fame?
It's still the Hall of Fame, and I think when you look at situations like in golf, I guess if you get a certain number, you're automatically in. Baseball's not like that, and I think things have changed to the point. I would like to see. I think many people would have liked to have said, "Okay, you get 300 wins, you're in." Mm-hmm. What did Mussina have? Like 2 something?
Yeah, it was 270.
270. Yeah, he didn't get 3.
Chump change.
You get, yeah. I mean, please, you get good. One start in the major leagues. That's a lifetime achievement. This guy had, as many wins as he had. He had the numbers he put up. And what was he, a Stanford guy, I think, and he had the that spiked curveball, that knuckle curve that a lot of guys throw now. He was one of the, first guys to really be throwing that a lot and make a living with it. And now you look at the guys that throw that all the time, and Mussina was throwing it on a regular basis when he was pitching. So I don't know. I think that he pitched in Baltimore, pitched for the Yankees, and in those ballparks, he had an ERA under 4, which I think it's remarkable, having been to those ballparks many, many times. Fenway, Baltimore, Yankee Stadium. In Yankee Stadium, if you're a starting pitcher, any ball hit in the air to the right side, you're holding your breath and praying that that ball will go out.
All right, so who does he go in? Is he going as a Yankee or is he going as an Oriole? That'll be an easier way to put it.
Yeah,
that's
a good question. I think he pitched. I believe he pitched more games with Baltimore. He pitched a lot with the Yankees, but I think he pitched more with Baltimore.
But the World Series.
He was drafted by Baltimore and all that. My guess is he may go in as an Oriole.
Yeah, which is funny because you don't really think about him as an Oriole, and that comes with just being Yankees. They're the Yankees, so you kind of think.
Well, the big stage.
Do the Yankees really need another guy?
Do they need another one? Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but they were on the big stage, so many World Series appearances. Right. He got some rings with them.
But just to kind of back that up a little bit too, I think Moose had like 11 seasons or something like that where he eclipsed 200 innings, which is that's impressive. Especially when you consider this day and age. I know we're kind of changing a little bit to more bullpen focused, pitching
different
approach,
time,
but 11 different seasons out of his 18 years, he went over 200 innings. That's pretty insane.
That just goes to show he's not pitching in the era of the opener.
No, and he pitched, into 2008. It's not like this is 60 years ago where pitchers pitched like back-to-back games and didn't sleep at night or whatever. Like this is recent, and he did that.
Yeah,
recently
on Twitter we have someone saying, just talking about the fight and heart in Mussina, saying he liked when he yelled at Torrey that he wants to stay in the dugout because he wanted to stay in the game, which is the type of stuff like we might have won a World Series had Rich Hill told. Sorry, I did not mean to go there. I'm just saying.
That hurts.
But Yeah, we have to not take up too much of your time. We have people. Wayne Edwards over here on Facebook says Tim sounds like he's going to be great in the booth.
Yep.
Great addition. I think this was fun. I hope this was a nice little introduction for you to or reintroduction to part of Los Angeles to get to know us, and hopefully we get to see you out in spring training and bug you a little bit or whatever it may be. We know Arizona can get a little. We mentioned all those breweries, by the way.
There's a lot to do. Yeah.
We're gonna take them and get a beer.
There you go.
I'll be busy in spring training. I've got a lot of the games actually, and I don't. First couple I don't do, but it might. I'm not supposed to discuss the schedule, but I will tell you my first one is the 28th of February.
Oh, awesome! That's
the first day we're going to be out
there.
there. Look at that.
But at the same time, it'll be good. I'm glad to get immersed, in the Dodger culture and be with this organization. This is a great organization, and I am just beyond thrilled to be with them. And my role with the club right now is great. And one of the first phone calls I had was from Charlie Steiner, and we talked for a while. And I've known Charlie, and I know Rick, and I know Joe, and I've known these guys for a while anyway. So it's going to be nice. I've known Alana Rizzo for a long time. She and I used to work together actually in Denver.
Oh, right on. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've known each other and worked together. So I mean, it's there's some familiarity there. It's not like I'm just coming in cold, but when I do go to spring training and have to introduce myself to a lot of people, it will be like drinking out of a fire hose for a while. But I'm really looking for it. I mean, this organization, this market, this town, this opportunity is absolutely wonderful, and I couldn't be happier to be part of this organization.
Fantastic. Friend of the show, Tim Neverett, thank you for joining us. We'll hang out with you a bit out in spring training and hopefully do more of these in the future.
Yeah, I'll see you guys out there for sure in Arizona.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the time.
Okay, no problem.
All right, bye-bye. So there we go. We got the Hall of Fame Vate.
Different type of party.
Yeah. That's you ever been to a foam party? It's a crazy good time.
Is Buster Only, by the way, just tweeted out about the Mike Mussina question about where he would go, the cap question. It says Orioles 288 games, 2009, 2 1/3 innings, 3.53 ERA. The Yankees 249 games, 1,553 innings, 3.88 ERA. Drafted by the Orioles, left Baltimore and chose to sign with the Yankees. Hall of Fame has final say, but it usually will work with the Hall of Famer for these choices. It's pretty even. So,
again, I guess it's just up to him.
Yeah, it's up to him.
I probably want to go in as a Yankee if I were him, but
I like everybody that that was voted in. They all were very deserving to be somewhat of a D-bag here. Way more deserving than Tim Raines. Just saying.
Maybe that was a better argument for me, was to go with Tim Raines and more so than Mike Mussina. But still.
Again, great stuff. Let's take a quickie little break. We're going to have like 10 last minutes. We want to get some more of your questions, because I did see some people talking about some food, so we're gonna get all those together. And
hit us with your food recommendations. Hit us with your toughest topics right now, too. That's going to be good. I don't know what that means. But
right on back. I got to find the button. There it is. It's that button. No, that's not it. That's this one.
That one right there. Got it.
And we're back.
We are back.
Sorry, Greg had to show us something, so he was like, I demand we go to break. 'Cause he had to show us,
Get out of here.
He had to show us something Kobe related.
yeah. Hey,
Kobe
again,
81.
Yeah, it's the 13th anniversary. My God, we're old.
Oh, Kobe.
13th anniversary of the
Yep.
81-point game. I still have a stack of newspapers from that from the LA. I mean the newspaper.
I'm trying to do math in my head to remember how old I was.
13
I was
years
13.
younger.
I was 13 years old.
Wow,
Yeah.
freaking kids.
I was
these
standing in a
days.
Starbucks and I remember looking at the
22.
newspaper.
So again, we're seeing some of them. I'm seeing.
13
Wait,
years,
where's
holy
my?
cow.
I found my pointy, guys. Everybody, I found my pointy. We're seeing some of the food stuffs. That's cool. Again, we're gonna find a way to put all those together, and we're gonna get those against his will. Probably, we're gonna send them over to Mr. Neverett. But we did have some things that we wanted to talk about. So I want to expand a little bit more because we talked about it before the show on Hall of Fame. So we want your guys' opinions on the Hall of Fame as well before we get into full-blown Dodger talk. Because, of course, it's been a while since we've even had anybody on the ballot. I think the last guy who was sort of potentially a Dodger was Mike Piazza, and that did not go well.
Mike Pizza.
Yeah.
You talk badly about Vince Scully. I don't really consider you a Dodger anymore.
That's
a good way to
I think
get
we're
kicked
fine
out of
about it. But I think it was you who had asked, is Mariano Rivera the right choice to be the first ever unanimous guy?
Right.
Brooke, let's see. He's the child here. Have you heard of Mariano Rivera?
Mariano? Yeah.
Mariano?
You know, you look back at the guys who have been chosen, and it's tough because
Hold on, Josh Vigil, this bud's for you. Thank you.
There you go. It's tough. You know, there's so many good candidates, but man, like I actually sat down and from an analysis side looked at Mariano's stats today.
Dude's insane.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Insane.
Kershaw's
Redonkulous.
in lifetime career ERA plus. I mean, he dominates.
Like at least
everybody.
280 or something?
And you forget the fact that he played at Yankee Stadium. You're like, that's a crappy field to pitch at. He played there and he dominated batters. And he, into his last season, when he was like a million years old, it looked like he was, he
Still
looked
dominant?
pretty old. He was still dominant. He still
Yeah.
had like a better than Kenley Jansen ERA. Like, dude, he was ridiculous.
Yeah,
At his peak.
I think the issue, and I don't even think it's a problem, I just wonder if, and it's just more of a question than anything, is that there have been so many superstars, so much amazing players that have gone into the Hall of Fame, and none of them have ever been unanimously in. And so is this the right guy to be the first unanimous? And I think
No.
that's the big, thank you.
They messed up. Griffey Jr. was
Yes.
the right guy.
He should have been.
100%.
He should have been.
And they
100%.
messed up.
Right.
Because there's one guy that wants to have his name out there being like, well, I know everybody else is going to vote for him, so I'm going to vote for to try and get somebody else in.
Right.
It's
So
just not
now,
gonna-
with how broken voting is, you only get up to 10, and if you don't get up to 10 votes, and if you don't get X percentage, it's 5% of the vote, you're off the ballot next year. So now the baseball police that are part of the baseball writers that are trying to keep the PED users out of the game and all that, and it's like you have X amount of PED users already in the Hall of Fame. And in the bullpen in some occasions, why not throw in the best to ever play the game for a 20-plus year stretch when you got two guys on both sides of the ball that did it amazingly? Steroids aside, Barry Bonds stole 500 bases and hit 500 home runs. You know who else did that? Nobody.
Yeah, that was before he had
MLB The Show characters
That
do
was before he had his big head. So just so you know. Yeah, it is a flawed system, and I
he
think
was a star before then.
So now
He was, yeah. I
they've
think people
piled
recognize-
up all of these players.
I
though.
think people recognize though that it's a flawed system, and people. That's why you've seen Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds numbers climb, except for obviously this year hasn't been. But people are kind of like they're at a breaking point. They're like, where do we draw the line now? Like they were really good players. They had these things in their past. Doesn't mean it was all of their past. No, yes, no, yes. People can't really decide. It's a weird system. But with I agree. KGJ easily should have been unanimous. And you forget that the people who are voting are still people. They're still people who have had interactions with these players, who have left imprints on them.
Yep.
KGJ rubbed a lot of people
Yeah.
the wrong way. He was a jerk to some people because that's how he came off. And his he was cocky, and he for every reason should have been.
should have been.
Mariano, completely different guy from everything I've heard from everybody else, very down to earth. People loved him. If you had an interaction with that guy, you probably loved him, and he was a great player. Of course, he's making your ballot. People are human, and that's why there's an error with it.
Twitch, you broke me. I'll get to Twitch right here in a second, but I had 2 points. I think I lost one, but my main one is more anger. How the hell can Tim Raines be a Hall of Famer but not Jeff Kent?
Yeah, that's a rough
absurd.
One. Yeah.
That is complete absurdity.
That's one I have
Jeff
a problem
Kent
with.
belongs in the Hall of Fame. He was possibly the best second baseman, especially power-wise. He's the best second baseman of all time.
He's the best National League second baseman for a generation.
Yep.
Roberto Clemente, not Clemente, Alomar on the other side in the AL was the best of that generation. He's in. Why not Jeff Kent? There's this stigma that he was a terrible,
he was a jerk,
defensive player for one. But that's the biggest thing is he was an asshole.
He looked like he was the only good MLB player who looked like a cop as well.
Yeah.
That.
Dude.
Right. I mean,
80 grade.
He was the
riding
cop.
motorcycles and getting into accidents and hurting himself. And,
Yeah, 80 grade mustache for sure. And he does. I think he hawks like ATVs now in Texas. Go check it out. Not a sponsor.
Yeah, Madison Bumgarner bought it.
So Twitch, Perez 1619. I'm just going to go ahead because this is the money tweet of the night here. Ronald Belisario will be the next pitcher to get a unanimous vote in the Hall of Fame. Thank you. Hashtag no Perez. I missed that guy. Ugly.
We just talked about him before the show.
Yeah, funny
he's come
enough.
up so many times today, and I don't think I've talked about him for like 5 years.
Uglier guy, Ronald Belisario or Mike Fetters?
That's the hot take that's the hot subject of the night. I think. Yeah.
You let us know.
I really hope Belisario's not listening. Poor guy, man.
Hey,
He's like, hey.
he's a pretty guy. Doyer Fanatica says PD users should not be in the Hall of Fame. Freudman saying Bonds was a twig before he started using PEDs. We saw a lot of that early Pittsburgh career.
Then you got the argument that PED users are already in the Hall of Fame,
Hey,
which is very much true.
I'm glad you could read that one.
And it's not like you can be like, never mind.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on
You have
Ramon
to leave now.
Chancoso.
That bust you have in Cooperstown, we're just going to take
Right.
that
We
away.
decided that it's not good, so we're going to actually go back on it.
Right.
I can't wait for Pedro Baez because I think they're going to use the picture that we took of Sad Baez.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I'm able to say his name again.
Oh, that's good. You know what? I can't say anything bad about him anymore.
No.
I feel like
He
remember
proves you
those
wrong.
days.
He was upset with you.
yeah.
I remember those days when you used to get destroyed about it.
I got destroyed about a lot of things on post game. So that was. Although I'll say this one thing, I'm going to give myself credit for one thing. I didn't want Brian Dozier, and he turned out to be a bum.
I still want him.
So I didn't see who it was from, but there is a good point. Greg Maddux went into the Hall of Fame, but not as a Brave. He went in, I think, as a blank hat, right?
Nice.
Was it
He
a
did.
blank
He went
hat?
in a
I
blank
think
hat?
it was
He
just
did, yeah.
just a baseball hat.
He's been all over. He was with the Cubs.
Yeah,
he was
well,
with
I
the
mean,
Braves.
Cubs and Braves
Yeah.
are obviously by far.
Well, the
Did
Dodgers.
And the Padres.
Did KGJ go in as a backwards hat?
Yes.
He
yes.
did, didn't he?
He did.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he
I'm
was
so
the one that
glad he did.
started that whole thing. That was a fad for forever.
Yeah.
You had your hat on backwards just a few minutes ago.
Oh, I always like to wear my hat backwards.
When I
it
play,
makes me feel sexy.
When I play slow pitch softball, whenever I go up to bat, I always turn my hat backwards. I don't know why I do that. I think like the bill
that's a
crosses my
condition.
Yeah,
eyes.
the
a
ball you
condition.
can see. You can see the ball.
Yeah, 'cause it's
come
going
down.
up.
Yeah.
But
So you
that's a
gotta,
good
like, look
point.
up.
Phantom person, whoever said something. I missed
Someone
that
else
one.
I saw pop up there. They said Rose for sure should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, 100,000%.
Which I mean,
Like,
you can't even argue that.
it's a Hall of Fame. You could put him in the look. He little questionable motives, but
The performance is
if
there,
you
man.
lead the sport that is more than 100 years old in any
Category.
system,
Yeah,
whoever
any category.
leads baseball in home strikeouts should
As a
be in
batter,
the Hall.
as a
Yeah,
batter,
as a
yeah.
batter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say he
Adam
did
Dunn.
actually bet on games while he was a player, which
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't know
Yeah.
which way, one way or the other. We know whether it was when he was a manager, but even if so, he still played his ass off.
Yeah.
And he had over 4,000 hits. Yes, 100%. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. Whatever thing he did after he was playing the game doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you
Right.
do not get the nickname of Charlie Hustle and
Not Johnny Hustle.
Not Johnny
Not
Hustle.
Johnny
We're not
Hustle.
talking about Manny, and I've seen enough Manny Machado. All right, let's
start
for
Manny.
the Machado people real quick. Thoughts on Manny Machado potentially returning?
We're getting Manny Machado back. I've been saying it since the beginning of the free agency. Even when the Yankees apparently had him in his back pocket, even when back then, I still think the Dodgers front office is going to do something ridiculous, and we're going to end up with Manny.
The second that he put out that Instagram post of "Thank you, Dodgers, for everything that you've done here,"
Yeah.
gone, goodbye, you are done. You are no longer a Dodger. He's never coming back.
And
There
how-
was an interesting argument that I saw on Twitter.
Go ahead.
Yeah, about that Manny Machado thing.
The Twitter
I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah,
favorite.
we love
I'm gonna
Twitter
bring it up.
arguments. They always go well.
Yeah, so I saw a few
Hats
things on
off
there.
to certain friends of the show.
Yeah, I saw a few things on there. One thing, There's no way Corey Seager could play a different position. It's physically impossible.
tired
Did you
of
guys
seeing-
know that Major League Baseball players can only play one position? It's
No,
it's a rule.
especially
it's in the
with
rule book.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kike Hernandez is only an outfielder.
I remember
Yeah.
laughing
Yeah.
about this. You guys remember when the World Series was shifting to Dodger Stadium and they're like, "Oh, Mookie Betts is taking ground balls at second base," and like in the back of my head, it's like, "Wow, that's really crazy."
Yeah.
And then I realized we have two players that are Gold Glove caliber type players
At every
that
position
play
they
literally
play.
every damn position on the field.
They play second base, center
Except
field,
for
left
catcher,
field.
we don't know about that. What
They-
the hell?
they
What
go-
up, Sujo?
They go get the water for the team, and they're good at that too. Like
Yeah.
they can do anything.
Switch water hitter, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Like that left-handed, if like they need to for whatever reason.
I think the
They
point
could.
though is, would he want to move? Would you? And if both guys want to play shortstop, are you gonna? Which one would you move from shortstop to second base?
To counter
I
that,
would
do
like
you
to-
want a player that doesn't want to work for his team?
Well, I understand, but
Yeah.
so I'm
I
asking
don't think
you,
Corey's
if it-
directly ever said, "I don't want to play second base."
Sure.
But
Or anywhere-
who
or
in
anywhere
their
for that matter.
career has played more shortstop in the major leagues? Corey effing Seager.
Right.
Yeah, he has. So with
and
that,
he's
with
great.
that, my concern, he's coming back from Tommy John, which number one, that's huge. It
Yes.
doesn't matter who you are.
you don't know what's going to
absolutely
You don't know
Like,
how he's going to come back. But and if that's one thing, and if it was just that, maybe I wouldn't feel so bad about it. But he's also coming back from hip surgery too, which as a shortstop is a pretty big deal.
and
in
it
general,
restricts your movement. Of
it
course.
does. Yeah, it's hard to.
Yeah,
and
you don't
he's,
need hips
he's
to
not
move.
he's not very mobile
don't
as
lie.
it is. If you've ever watched him on a diamond, he's not super mobile. He's
First
got
one.
he's got good range, but he does have trouble when he's trying to get to a ball in the hole of getting down to the ball quick.
He does.
He's always had that issue, and it might be better now. It might be because maybe that was holding him back. But you just never know how somebody's going to come back from that. And if we're banking on him immediately bouncing back, I don't know that we can rely on that. And Manny Machado, maybe he's not the answer for that because he's going to want to, he's not going to take a one year deal. He
And-
might take something chock full of opt outs, which I think is ultimately no matter what he's going to settle for.
Dishonest
Any
Gabe
team.
says Manny Machado's a bench clearing brawl waiting to happen, which I agree.
Which means I want him on my team.
Oh, you want the fire? We already got.
Well, I mean,
we got
I
Joe
love
Kelly.
We lost Yasiel Puig. Who's going to fight the Giants? I need somebody to punch Madison Bumgarner.
So you're saying you want Machado to play if this happens. Let's put this in the world of that Manny Machado is a Dodger and that Corey Seager is back and he's fully healthy and everything's fine. That's where we are. You want Machado playing short and Seager playing second.
Not necessarily.
So then
No.
what I'm putting you on the spot. Which
Yeah,
one
no,
do you
that's
where are you
fine.
going?
That's
Yeah.
fine. Justin Turner's defense at third base is declining.
So go back to
100%
second. So
it's
you want him to
declining.
go back to second.
I would love for JT to play a little bit of first base, actually. I'd like him to move over there. And I don't see why he wouldn't be able to move over
could.
there as a third baseman. Does he rank high defensively at first? Probably not. But I'm sure he ranks just about the same as Max Muncy does. If you put Max Muncy at
video
second
side.
base, which is my least favorite thing in all of baseball, is putting Max
I
Muncy
don't
at second
like that
base.
either.
Horrible. To be
He
fair,
rates
we have,
his best spot rating is second base. By the way, his best defensive.
he played
numbers.
He played one game.
He played
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Look,
Yeah,
you can look at numbers all you want. Sometimes
Yes.
numbers don't say everything, and we
Obviously
all
not.
watched Max Muncy at second
Right.
base. It's a disaster.
Yeah, it's rough. He's a big, thick guy. You don't really put those guys
How
at
many
second
C's?
So
base.
give me your
How
give me
many
your
C's
infield.
thick?
2-3.
2-3. You guys let us know in the comments below.
So give me your infield then. Give me the from third base. Obviously don't worry about catcher, but third base,
Kike.
short, third base, shortstop, second
You know
base.
who my
first.
catcher is.
Yeah.
FRG. Behind the plate, we can talk about behind the plate all day. I hope it ends up being Realmuto.
Let me sit on a bucket. I'll catch.
His knees are toast, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
ankles gone.
Ankles too.
Right.
You're going to see
All right,
me
sorry,
hobbling
sorry.
around.
So
If we got
Arizona.
if we got Realmuto behind the plate, that's obviously ideal.
Right.
We might not get that. We probably won't get that. But if we did, that would be ideal.
Right.
And the Dodgers are, as you know, well known for mixing up lineups every single day.
course.
Some people hate it. A lot of people talk about how much it doesn't work, and we ended up in the World Series back-to-back years, so do with that what you will. But people are like, well, we lost it. I'm like, well, most people don't make the World Series,
Still went
as
to
you
Game
can tell.
7, so,
At the
yeah.
end of the year, 2 teams make the World Series every year. I don't know how that works out, but
Right.
I think we see a mix-in of a lot of guys in a lot of different places.
But for the most
considering
part,
that.
let's just say your start. So, like for me, I would go if this was opening day. I would go Turner, Seager, and if Machado is there, I mean, I guess if Machado is there, it's different. I don't even know what you would do in that situation, but I would probably put Seager still at shortstop. I guess Machado at second, and then, which doesn't make any sense. No. I'm not going to say it makes any sense. Right. But then it's
that's too far-fetched. Yeah.
Right, well, I understand, but I don't have, where am I putting him then?
Exactly.
Because I like Seager
He's
at short.
a platinum glove third baseman in his career.
He is.
Which is better than a goal. He was voted the best defensive player in all of an entire league as a third baseman.
I don't get.
Good in both spots.
I don't get why he wants to play shortstop.
He's played one season-ish.
It doesn't make sense to me.
As a shortstop.
He's a phenomenal third baseman.
You want to know why
he's
he
a
wants to
phenomenal
play
shortstop,
Because he's cocky. The
money's there.
Well, the money's there too. You know, he's going to get paid either way because the bat is what pays you in this ball game.
They're not. No one's paying him for his defense.
However, my alignment, if Machado was to become a Dodger, it's going to be for one season. Machado short, Seager second, Turner at 3B, and then it's going to be some sort of.
So you're moving Seager.
Yeah, you play it for one season. You can sell it. Looks
that also gives them the time
already.
That gives them the time to heal, though, too.
Remember, this is a good problem to have. This is the hashtag good problem to have.
We don't know where Seager's at. You know, he says everyone says
he's home right now. It's a little late in the evening.
He might be. Yeah, I don't know what he does in his off time, but he might. He's said several times that he's 100% ready to go for spring training. 100% ready to go by opening day. You can say that over and over and over again.
Yes. You have to actually see it.
Do you remember before he had the elbow surgery when people had talked about his elbow hurting, and I had said, hey, have you noticed that when he's throwing from short, he's kind of lobbing it over there?
Yeah,
and a bunch of people kind of started to catch on to that, and they were like, there's something wrong. And then 3 weeks later, boom, there's that Twitter headline.
He looked really, really bad coming into the season. He barely played any spring training ball.
He didn't. No.
And it showed right away.
No one did though.
That's fair, and it showed a lot. But yeah, you saw by August of 2017, you had a hampered Corey Seager, and he was still the best player on the team at that point. Well, Bellinger was on his decline.
We were bad back then.
But we're talking about how Seager is going to be basically the biggest star to come and join a team this year because he wasn't with us last year. So Seager is the biggest star that is joining a team, joining the Dodgers
as of now.
As of now, sure, as of now. But even so, you can even argue that Seager could be eventually better than both of those guys.
Yeah,
I think he will be too.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly do believe he will be. He is the shortstop of our future. He is in my eyes. He doesn't have the charisma of a face of the franchise, but he is. He will be the face of our franchise for when Kershaw is gone and he's retired, and all these guys that we've seen. I don't think Cody Bellinger is like a face of the franchise type of guy.
No,
he is gonna be like a star player for us for years and years and years. I believe
Evans is gonna be so mad.
Evans is in bed like crying right now with happiness.
I'm seeing some Max Muncy people saying what I saw. You realize Muncy hits better than most. Of course, we're talking about defensive alignment right now,
right?
And my plan is just the one season in that alignment,
right?
Because you got JT, like you said, he's starting to decline. He's going to be 36 by the time 2020 starts, which would be the final year of his contract. You won't have David Freese by then, so. Nope. Now, I'm talking about 2020, not this coming season.
Right.
Or maybe even younger. I don't know.
Maybe even, yeah.
34.
I thought he was 32.
No, he's 34.
Okay.
Papa Bear's old. By the way, happy National Justin Turner Day, guys.
Yeah.
Over here talking about all his decline and how terrible he does not kick sick orphan puppies.
I wasn't talking about him as a decline. He's a great guy. For the city of Los Angeles, I mean, just in general, he's an amazing guy. He does so much. We've talked to him a lot of times. Him and Courtney, his wife, both do phenomenal things for everybody in the community, honestly. I mean, they work so hard in the off season and the off days of the regular season. They're always doing something. It seems like they're always up to some sort of charity event or, you see him in the background at these big celebrity charity events that aren't even his specific charity. He's at all the LA Dodger Foundation charity events. He's everywhere all the time. And he doesn't quit.
And he's great, but also he's going to be old enough to where we're going to need, after David Freese, the next Chase Utley.
Yeah. So with that, I kind of wanted to look at his defensive ratings because, it kind of just popped into my mind as we were talking about it that his defense did seem to take a big hit.
It seemed more in the playoffs than it did during the regular season.
It did, yeah. But it dropped, according to Fangraphs, their ratings for their scale goes pretty up and down. But, in terms of Fangraphs, he rated as like an 11.1 on defensive rankings, which is pretty high for Fangraphs in 2016. and he's taken a huge dive in the past 2 years, a negative 0.6 and a negative 0.9.
No, negative 0.9. Wow.
And this is
So
on what? You're just saying fan graphs, but not what's the stat?
It's literally Fangraphs, their defensive ranking. So it's like their point
so you're
system.
saying
Like a D rating.
Really,
So it's a
defensive
very
war type thing.
It's a very surface level ranking, but it does note their decline pretty significantly.
The advanced stats are still. the jury for me is super out.
Basically,
on
he was
advanced
this good at
stats in
defense.
I know, I get that,
And now he's
but
this
I don't,
good at
I don't
defense.
believe that much. I'd still
That's a
give.
great way to put it.
There you go.
I don't look at fielding percentage, but you could look at the
You look at UZR.
UZR
UZR is my
150.
favorite stat to measure that.
But
There's a ton of things that you can look at, but ultimately at the end of the day, he's experiencing a decline, and why not? He's older. His knees historically have not been good, and you could kind of see it a little bit more this year, I think, in years past. But also the wrist, which he got hit, in his fielding hand, right?
Right.
And so if you're talking about that, it's easy to kind of see why that was an issue. And early on, when he came back in Miami, I remember there was a ball that was hit at him, and he didn't squeeze it, and it was like.
Yeah, he just.
I don't think that wrist is okay.
He really looked uncomfortable during the season.
He did, and he talked about in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah.
The playoffs was like, what happened to this guy?
Errors.
He used to, blindly scoop these things up, no problem. It felt like he was a vacuum over there. But every time somebody crushed a ball at him, you're like, here it comes, and sure enough, he would boot it like Max Muncy.
Yeah.
So again, we have the good problem to have if Machado ends up being a thing, but it's probably not. I think everything is sort of gravitating towards AJ Pollock now. It looks that way.
Right.
For the people asking about Harper, if you look at the numbers, I mean, honestly, he's just not that great of a player. He's not a $300 million player to me. He gets on base at an elite clip and wins above replacement, respects players that get on base. But as a whole, he has one season where he's hit over 100 RBI. He has one exceptionally great 10-plus win above replacement level season. And then everything else is Puig level at best, and we just traded him away. And Puig hasn't been able to hit left-handed pitchers in the last 2 years.
You're talking about how WAR.
Harper, I'm talking about WAR and all that.
According to Baseball Reference, he has a 1.3 WAR last year.
Yeah, because he was so terrible on defense. He gave
Well,
up
it's
three
not a
runs.
negative. It's I'm pretty sure, and maybe you can correct me.
No,
if
well,
I'm wrong.
they kind of
they don't.
mix.
It's not like a negative. Like you don't take offensive WAR and defensive WAR and subtract, and you get regular WAR. That's
They-
just not
but
how
it does-
that
it
works.
does
kinda
factor
do.
into the overall,
They
though.
It does
kinda
overall.
do, but they don't. It's
Right.
not exactly like, you had this many that way,
Yeah,
so this
right.
minus
It's not
that.
a
or
straight negative.
Yeah.
He was bad.
But he was
Right, but that's-
Matt
but that
Kemp
says so
bad
much.
on defense.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, he's. People have been talking about Harper for a long time.
Rip
I've
Friedman
never-
says
I've-
he's better than anyone in their outfield right now. I disagree. That's what we're a part of. This.
I think the Dodgers, historically, they're championship teams. Obviously, it's
Andrew
been a long
Toles.
time since we've had a championship teams. But they,
Andrew Toles, baby.
you think back to that '88 team, they were built around defense. Like those guys, none of those guys were mashers. These were all guys who were wizards with gloves, or at least league average with gloves. You didn't have guys who, would. You remember that play where Harper just looked up into the sky and the ball fell behind him? I think it was actually against the Dodgers, but that seems to be a pretty consistent thing with him. He's not a great fielder. I don't think he's worth that much money.
I don't think he's worth
I
that
wouldn't
much.
want to pay
I
him
don't
that
think
much.
any human being is worth that much money.
It's way too much
What
money.
about me?
2 bits. I give you 2 bits.
I don't even know how much
See,
it is.
back in Gary's day, 2 bits was a quarter.
1902.
He's got a hay penny. That's
1902.
Gary looks great for his age.
There you go. That seems well. He's on one of the big front wheel bikes.
Got it. Yeah. So
friend of the
if they
show.
are emptying out this, it does seem like they're emptying out this outfield, which they have been. And if they're going to trade Joc Pederson too, I mean, what value would you take Bryce Harper at? And what annual average would you be like? This is a good annual average. I'll accept it to have this kind of power in my outfield.
I mean, I think 5 years and probably somewhere around $25-30 million. I would go pretty high still with it, but I don't need to see 10 years, $300 million.
Yeah.
5 years with an opt out after 3. And then you can, and the money wise, they can figure it out for themselves, but it doesn't need to be $35-40 million. And that's way too much.
And the opt out is great because both of these players are going to end up being free agents again at either age 29 or age 30 season. And the money keeps getting higher and higher. Of course, by that point, we're kind of scared that there might not be baseball happening.
Right.
Because how messed up the CBA is. But there's going to be more money. Like $50 million is going to be I can't believe this guy only signed for that.
Yep.
I remember the day Dodgers signed J.D. Drew. It was a 5-year, $55 million contract.
The worst contract ever, by the way. 5 years, $55 million, always bad.
Why is that?
It was who was it? It was
Dreifert.
Darren
Dreifert.
Yeah, Darren Dreifert also with that 5 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
But with Drew, it was like, wow, that's a really cool signing. Man, that seems like a lot of money. Now,
Well, yeah, I kind of talked about it last time, but the Eric Gagne contract.
Yeah.
The Eric Gagne contract was it was an $18 million contract for 2 years. They had every reason to pay him $9 million a year, which for that time, for paying $9 million for a reliever was
he
like
signed that in 05.
05,
right?
yeah, right before the 05 season, he signed that deal. Paying $9 million for an annual average for a reliever was like, whoa, are you sure?
When he went crazy.
He had a nuts, a couple seasons before that. They had every reason to pay him. He ended up pitching, I think, five and a third innings over the next 2 years or something like that before he was just no longer a Dodger. They wasted $18 million. That's the risk you got to take, though. I mean, we've seen it time and time again with bad contracts, and people are being much more weary of it since we've seen these huge contracts that have come back to bite people. See Josh Hamilton, see Albert Pujols, see any contract the Angels give to anybody, pretty much.
Twitch in the house. Perez 16-19. You're killing it tonight. You're killing me. So I remember the day Dodgers signed Andrew Jones.
Oh, jeez.
192 average, 9 home runs, 14 RBI.
I was excited about that signing.
I was so stoked about that.
I was like, oh, man, Andrew Jones? Oh,
I was
let's
like,
go.
why, Ned, why? And now Ned's out of a job. So
well,
Jason Schmidt.
Jason Schmidt.
Anybody that came from anybody that came from the Giants didn't work out. Brian Wilson had a few.
How dare you say that about Juan Uribe?
Okay. Oh, okay. Hey,
new addition to the set, by the way.
I apologize.
Our lovable
That's our man. That's
I
Mr.
apologize.
Jazz
No,
Hands.
I apologize. I will never
I love
say
that they have the
anything
bat
bad about Juan
drop
Uribe.
as part of it too. Like I actually, so the on this bobblehead, which is
awesome.
pointless for
That's so
anybody
cool.
listening on the podcast side, but on the bobblehead, I actually had to drill into it because they just glued over the hole so bad, so I just drilled into it and jammed the bat in there.
Oh, good call. Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, so we're talking about these big money guys.
We got to work on your segues.
Yeah, my segues are not clean.
As
guys.
I was saying,
if I got something to say, I'm just gonna jump right to it. I don't have time to waste.
as you should.
Yeah.
Rest in peace of that segment.
So
Anyway,
you're talking about these big money guys. You're talking about Harper and Machado. If you are a Scott Boras client, you are having a ton of opt-outs in your contract, and that's pretty much a guarantee from here on out. I think probably until the CBA changes. I think they're going to change some of the rules with opt-outs, and they're going to make them more balanced because sometimes they are more in favor of teams. They have a tendency to be, at least. You got another one, don't you?
Yeah.
You're dying.
Perez
over there.
16-19 again.
No,
But yeah,
no,
we're
this
gonna
one-
see a lot of opt-outs.
This one, 100%.
Yeah.
And even with this player, that Scully fan, Hangnail Pollock, where how often Pollock hits a DL. All right.
Yeah.
Is Greg, is this a loss to you this offseason if the Dodgers trade Puig but pick up Pollock in return?
All right, so with AJ Pollock, I think with this Dodgers team, especially with how deep they are, even if Joc Pederson goes, they can withstand the loss of him he's only going to play 120 games, tops probably about. He's going to be injured. It's going to happen. So I think the Dodgers can withstand it, but no, I'm not happy with this offseason if this is the only move. If the only move you make is Joe Kelly and AJ Pollock, I think this is not a good offseason for them. If they make other moves on top of that, if the JT Realmuto is part of it, or other guys, maybe Starling Marte or Josh Harrison or somebody else you get along with Pollock, then I think it's a successful offseason because you're bringing back Corey Seager, and that makes it more so of a successful offseason, and you're keeping the same young team together in a cost-controlled way. So I would, but right now, not if it's just AJ Pollock.
Yeah, so you're not buying into the whole narrative that they failed the offseason because it's not over.
No, no, absolutely not.
I think people have been telling me
over for a lot of teams,
people have been telling me they completely bungled it. There's a couple pretty big name writers out there that are like the Dodgers completely blew this offseason. And I was
January.
like, we started baseball already? Oh, I missed the opening day. What happened?
I didn't know that pitchers and catchers reported.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of time, and we're in the age where Scott Boras kind of controls the market. And let's be honest, he does. If one of his guys is available, he's going to wait it out and just see what they can do, and owners are going to wait for that. So it is what it is.
Old baseball coach 1 asks, are we off Kluber?
I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what's going inside of their heads in Cleveland. If you can get Kluber, you absolutely do it. But it seems like Cleveland is saying we're not trading either one of those guys, Trevor Bauer or Kluber. But they can make it happen.
They were
sure.
fielding calls, but that was never going to happen.
Right.
No, yeah, and you had to know that they were going to check in on everyone, and they have been. You know, all these rumors you hear about these guys that the Dodgers are in connections with, they are in connections with these guys. They have made phone calls on these guys.
Like
they
even
have
Starling Marte. Yeah.
They have to, because they are huge market team. One of the biggest markets that exists out there. If it's the Yankees or the Dodgers, and a player has even mentioned remotely as being available, you can bet that they've talked to one of those teams, because they have to. That's their responsibility as a big market team.
Right,
If you can get a better player and make your team better, you have to consider it.
Right. Yeah. That's why the Marlins saying, okay, we want Cody Bellinger. No. Okay, we're done.
Exactly.
And that's the end of the conversation. But you're still reaching out to talk to them.
Right.
So
and they have that capability.
And Buster only has to then say the Dodgers reached out to the Marlins about JT Realmuto, and they asked for Cody Bellinger. That doesn't mean that was actually going to happen. It just meant that was the discussion that happened.
Right. And that encourages discussion amongst fans, people on Twitter or whatever. They get to look at these things and say, like, that is an option. If they're considering that, they might be considering this. There's a bunch of things, guys.
Yeah.
Well, C.H. Daniel, 3D, so he's coming at you live in 3D. He says, be patient. And I think that's the biggest thing about right now. All of baseball needs to be patient. We all want something to happen.
I want it now.
Well, damn millennials.
Well, the Twitter world itself, be patient doesn't exist on Twitter. You can say whatever you want. If your thought is the Dodgers aren't doing anything, you can go on Twitter and just go scream and type away about everything you want. You can come on to the Blue Heaven podcast and on the live streams talk away with whatever say whatever you want. And you can go on the post game and the pre games, and you can do that because that's the type of world that we're living in now. But the patience is the most important thing.
Right.
You have to be patient until everything is over and done with. Stay patient, even throughout the year, because you saw the Dodgers were 10 games under 500. They ended up going to the World Series.
Sure, yeah.
Patience. Very important.
And for the people I see, now I'm starting to see the Castellanos. No, I'm very off on Castellanos. He can't field. No. He can hit.
Yep.
But he's also expensive. Just saying. I would much rather have kept Puig. I'm give me Tolles, give me Verdugo, give them some run. You got a decent enough runway to the postseason as it is. You can never assume anything. We're gonna have the hashtag It's Early people running through June. It's never early. Every game, every loss counts, every win counts. But it's a team that can still, as they do every single baseball year, can still make the biggest trade at the trade deadline. That's what we do.
Point.
Just survive. That's kind of what it's going to be the first few months.
And you can trust in the front office to make that move to get them to where they need to go.
I trust them. I trust those guys big time.
I need a
Did you see the Mike Trout question?
I did not. Did you have a Mike Trout?
I do have a Mike Trout question. Kevin Stearns, he says, could Trout be on their radar when he becomes a free agent? And let me tell you, Mike Trout will be on every single team in baseball's radar when he becomes a free agent.
Yep.
What?
Every single team. You know why? Because there's not often that you get to sign the best player in baseball.
Right. Never heard of him.
And if there's any guy that can get $300-400 million, Mike Trout can get $300.
I think he will be the first $400 million.
And he deserves it.
He should. Why not? Why not pay the best talent of? When's the last time you saw a talent like that? I don't even know if you ever have. He might end up going down as one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, people like to talk about that. People talk about Mookie Betts being like on that level. You're just not at that level.
He's
not.
And Betts is even a free agent. After this season, he's a free agent.
He won't make it that far.
They don't have the money.
They'll find it.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Boston fans will.
I don't think they have the money.
Dude,
they literally don't have a bullpen anymore.
Ask Tim Neverett.
Yeah.
He knows.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, he knows.
He'll see you guys in Arizona.
Yeah, we're going to bug him.
Mike Trout, 15 years, $1 billion, the AZ 943. So we're going to go with
That's a solid deal.
Official announcement. This
Done.
is we're going to
Mike Trout has been signed for 15 years.
I think we're going to have a GoFundMe.
We're signing him into his 60s. Something like that.
He gets to own part of the team. Mike, no, I don't believe that one.
Give him some ownership.
Hell, I don't want to get too much into the pitching side outside of what we've done, but I have seen on YouTube win-loss. It says winner loser, pay Harper. YouTube really wants Bryce Harper. I wouldn't be upset at it because, like we said earlier, it's not our money. We can complain about it. We can bitch about it all we want. You know, that's what we're going to do because this is Blue Heaven Podcast coming at you live every Tuesday. But I think it's about time to hit the wrap it up button, guys. But we do appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us. Appreciate Mr. Gregory Bergman.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It was fun talking Dodger baseball.
Yeah,
again.
it's nice to know you still know what's going on, how to speak the Dodgers.
You know what? I do. My job is to learn sports, and I have to talk about the Dodgers, the Lakers, everything. So, this is very much my world.
He's a sportsologist.
Yes.
He is a sportsologist, yeah.
I will take that and put it on the post game.
And he's magically
Greg
delicious,
Bergman,
like
sportsologist.
I said. Go ahead and take us out, Mr. Brook.
Yeah, you guys, if you would like to, if you enjoyed this show, make sure you subscribe to the Blue Heaven podcast. Like we've told you several times, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, and many more. Anywhere you can find podcasts, anywhere you want to listen to podcasts. Sometimes I listen to us when I'm in the car just to, because I forgot what we talked about. Somebody will bring it up.
I honestly don't remember what the hell we talked about last week, but I heard it was a good show, so thank you guys.
So I listened to it actually after. It was good. We're great.
Yeah, I just kind of blinded my way through that one. Pretty sure I was dying.
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. I am at BrookMe3. This guy over here is at RealFRG. Huge thank you to our crack production team over there, Mr. Zed James and Mr. Gary Lee. Zed got a Mr. this time. They're both
Zed,
Misters.
That's at Zed James _ for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you to our guest over here, Mr. Greg Bergman.
Yeah, Bergman at Bergman Greg. Find him on Bergman Nation. Check him out on Bergman Raw. No, Lakers Raw.
Lakers Raw.
You can do your Lakers plug right here.
LakersRaw.com, right?
Just like you've seen me on DN postgame after every game, I do Lakers postgame after every game as well. It's LR postgame over at Lakers Raw, and it is kind of connected. We are all one.
One big happy family.
So go over to Lakers Raw and check out the Instagram page. It's really, really good. They are killing it over there.
Solid.
And postgame after every single Laker game.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So now he's going to give us our children back. All of that was that's true. I don't like kids. Anyways, thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Where's the button?